a lot and voluminous papers and that's the life of a lawyer. And I was like, oh, okay. At that time, it made sense. It was like, okay, I'm
Sure.
gonna do this. However, because of my score getting in, they advised that I should do. So I started with international relations.
Oh, wow. You know what? Like,
Yeah.
it's a good thing I didn't introduce you as my best friend because I feel like, what?
You're still unpacking a lot. It's like, I
Like, what's
didn't know
going on? I
this.
didn't know this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So I didn't qualify for like straight LLB, and at the time it was like applying was rush. So I did international relations,
Okay.
where I majored in political science.
All right.
But whilst we're in, the people from faculty departments were like, no, just get inside the university, and then you can always switch later on. So
Sure.
then that's when I did 1 year of international relations, and then I switched over to BA law,
Okay.
where then I majored in criminology. So
Okay.
I first thought I was going to be a criminal lawyer because I loved it.
Okay.
And then into my 2 years LLB, I was like, criminal procedure, no. I was like,
It's not a thing.
I was like, I don't think I can defend criminals.
Sure.
I didn't have it in me. So then that's how it came about. Yeah.
Okay. So when your mom says, okay, try for law, was this when you're in grade 12? Did you have any gap year
Yes.
or you
This
just
was
went
in-
straight into uni?
This was in matric, grade 12. And yeah, we just went straight into no gap years, no
Okay.
nothing. And yeah.
And did you so did you have a second option? Or you like how like when you apply at universities, there's option number 1, option number 2. Did you have any option number 2 or you just applied for international relations and
If I can remember, I think my second option was BA General.
okay.
Yeah. BA General, then they said later, like it's that, it's that program you're not even sure about because then later on you get to major as you go.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was the second option.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now you go into uni. How was your university experience? Did you experience any culture shock from high school into university?
Yes, big
Okay.
culture shock.
All right. tell us the tea.
Oh, well, big culture shock in terms of like, you're meeting different types of people from different, places and, across South Africa. So it's just kind of like I was in a very small, knitted school. And
Sure.
then you're like thrown into varsity and you're meeting like different characters and different type of people. And yeah, it was a bit of like getting out of my shell, So yeah, that was okay. Like my university experience overall, I'd say like I wasn't, that person that participated in like big things and,
Sure.
Golden Key and, being part of like, your politics and, yeah, I was very like, okay, go to school, attend your lectures,
You were just a girl.
study, hang out with friends afterwards, and then that's it.
Sure.
Yeah. I wasn't too out there.
Would you have knowing the things that you know right now? Would you have done things differently at university?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. In a sense that I think, being in like different spaces, like participating in like different programs that they had, like maybe for SRC, that would have helped, in terms of like boosting a little bit of confidence.
Sure.
You get to interact with a lot of people. But no at the same time, because then these people are always out and, engaging and being in that space. And then if they're studying, it's like,
Yeah.
how are they dabbling that life and also book life at the same time? So I don't know. Can't do too many things at once.
Okay, you're not a multitasker.
I'm not a big multitasker. No, I'm
Okay, no,
not.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So now did you find, are there any modules that you found challenging? Was there any point where you felt like quitting? Or what was one challenging moment of studying law?
I mean, yeah, some modules were just really intense. I think labor law was one of the challenging ones, but I think it's also how the lecturer taught it. Um, international law, we did that as well. Yeah, it reminded me of political relations, and I was like,
I don't want to do
politics.
that.
I was like, no, international law is not for me. There weren't like big challenges, I think once you just get into the rhythm of it, get into enjoying the studies, yeah. I enjoyed criminal law, but then I just realized no.
Okay. So that was criminal law was your favorite module. Okay.
Biggest,
So
yeah.
why did you choose to study at UP? Did you only apply at UP?
I applied at UP. I applied at UNISA. I applied at UJ. Yeah, I didn't quite widen the net in terms of applying.
So why didn't you come to UJ? I mean, you're wearing orange.
Is this your colors at UJ?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I was still a Pretoria girl at that time. And Joburg just seemed like this big city that I was not quite sure if I'm ready for, like leaving the nest and like coming here and having to,
so you just wanted to be closer to home.
I wanted to be closer to home, yeah, UP just seemed like the safest option.
Okay.
I
So you
guess.
love safe.
I love safe. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still exploring other things, but safe is like where I would start.
Okay. Did
Yeah.
you do any extracurricular activities in uni?
No, but I did partake in this sort of like program of girls where it's called Pledge a Pad. So basically, it's like this little society that gives back to the community, and where we were able to like donate sanitary towels and to young girls in like high school and primary.
Sure.
So yeah, I did like the whole women initiative in that. That was the one society I participated in. The rest, no, I wasn't in that. Yeah.
Okay. So during your university time, did you have any like bad friendship breakup? Or friendship heartbreak? Because I feel like universities are a place where that's where you experience the real vulnerability of relationships, whether it's dating, whether it's friendships, whether it's, would you recommend a person to have a lot of friends in uni? And did you at any point go through a friendship heartbreak?
I did. But it wasn't so bad, like a heartbreak,
Okay.
First year, you're figuring out, where am I? What am I doing? I'm
Sure.
in varsity. I've got all this freedom now. And, not all your friends in high school are there at uni because everybody then just kind of scatters to different universities. So
Sure.
I made a lot of friends first year. And, but at the same time, I think I was very playful first year, having too many friends. And then as the years go by, like, those friendships fall off because then you're progressing in your studies, they are not. And you don't see each other anymore on campus.
Sure.
You don't see each other in classes because you're no longer in the same classes. And so, yes, there was a friend I started with first year. Then we gradually moved up. She also changed to BA law. But then she was falling behind on her studies. So I was just like, I need to keep up with friends that are going to take, school serious. And she wasn't. And yeah, so for me, I just felt like I need
So
to focus.
did you then like how did that end? Did you just start acting out? Because I feel like that's very unfair.
No,
Randomly
it's not.
acting out because a person is not passing. What if they're going through stuff?
No, the thing is, I was there for her when we'd study together.
Sure.
And, like I said, you just have to enter an era where you're just done playing around. You have to be a little
Sure.
bit more serious.
Sure.
Because as the years go, the modules become a little bit harder.
Sure.
And, we can't keep partying and, and I was no longer that part of that lifestyle a lot.
Sure.
to party and drink, and the next day you have to study, and then the next day you're writing.
Why is that a thing about university
So-
students saying they would party and then the next day you have to study for a test?
Exactly. You know, that was the lifestyle.
Okay.
Everybody did that. And so I think with my friend, she wasn't ready to become a bit serious. And I felt like this is gonna pull me back,
Back as
to
well.
if I fall into that hole. And yeah, I really just decided to distance myself. And obviously that it helped in a way because we weren't in the same classes and she had modules that were behind. And yeah, it wasn't a good thing. But
Yeah, it's not really a good thing. Like,
Yeah,
just to university students, I feel like when you pick your friends, obviously pick them wisely. But I recently learned something new, that it's not every friend that must be beneficial. Like, it's not every friend that must be a powerhouse.
yeah.
Like, sometimes just be a friend with the person because they make you laugh, because
Yes.
they're just that person. Because if we go around looking for these powerful friends or these people that we think should be powerful, should be a certain way, what then happen when they lose that element of power?
True.
Because I mean, some of these things are temp, right? You could meet me right now. I'm this focused girl and stuff. Like, you know what? We pushing and everything. And then within the next year or two, something happens in my life. Then I get derailed. Does then that mean you love me any less? You get? So I just feel like sometimes we do need to give each other grace. But also, I'm not saying go around befriending people that are not good for you. If you can see that something, because sometimes it is a thing, sometimes it is people, is pulling you back or making you act out of your character or out of your core values, then you need to move away from it. But also, there's a nice way to do it. Don't be Padisa, don't ghost. Don't be a man and
You know,
ghost.
I gave her a little heads up, like, you know, if you continue down this stream, I'm not gonna be around.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. What is one of the biggest lessons that university taught you?
The biggest lesson is to be very disciplined
Mm-hmm.
and independent, because you're not in high school. Nobody's gonna run after you to submit homeworks and assignments. Nobody's gonna say study and write the test. You know, it's up to you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
At the end of the day, you are what you have
Mm-hmm.
to get yourself, you know, through university.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Discipline and independence. Okay, relatable. So now we've done our LLB. Did you know that you had to do articles?
Yes, they tell you first, second year.
Who told you?
I mean, we have these career days and like big, you know, firms come and, you know, you have to now start looking around where you're going to serve your articles. It was always like nurtured and embedded in us that
Hey,
guys, 2 years.
So
you know,
you've
they have
always
it-
known,
Yeah.
like from first year, that you needed to do articles. Like it was
Yeah.
always part of your plan.
It was always part of the plan. I mean,
Okay.
that's the only plan I knew, that
Okay.
straight after, you know, university, you have to do your 2 years articles at a firm.
Okay.
And, you know, back then, I didn't know various firms. And obviously, the big ones are the ones that came to school
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, informed us about them. And those ones you had to apply quite early on. And yeah, so that I knew. From
Okay.
the
So you
get-go.
didn't know that you had other options though, like going the advocacy route, pledge, legal secretary, the NPA. Oh, the
yeah.
NPA is back.
Yes, it is back.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Do apply, guys. There's actually, they have something open. Yeah. The NPA is back. Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I think in the beginning, like I said, first year, second year, it's mainly about articles at a law firm, And then as you go on, like fourth year, that's when they would say, oh, okay, no, like pupillage, because you do trial advocacy. And we do moot court.
Yes.
So in moot court, you know, the lecturer does tell you that you want to be now you start knowing the difference between an attorney and an advocate. And if you want to be an advocate, go this route. Because yes, I did actually, you know, apply at the bar as
Really?
a safety net. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
In my final year, I did apply to go to the bar the next year.
Okay.
That didn't go well, unfortunately.
All right.
So yeah, they do tell you, but obviously towards the end
Okay.
that you have other options. But it was either go to a law firm or go to
Okay.
the bar
So how was your application process like
for the bar.
for the articles?
application process, like
Yeah,
sending CVs to like a million multiple firms.
So how was your routine like? Would you like find emails of law firms and then you would email like Monday, do the emails, or would you call?
Yeah, no, I did everything. You
Really?
send out your CVs, you searching law firms around near me. And like yeah, I was just sending my CV. And yeah, Career Junction was there, PNet.
Sure.
I had like those job notifications for candidate attorneys, and
Sure.
yeah, there was a lot of firms looking. I went to like 3-4 interviews,
Okay.
before I finally ended up where I am. Yeah, so it was.
So how did you find the interview process? Like the other four that you attended, was it intense? Was it great?
It was very, very nerve wracking, because then you don't know what to expect.
Sure.
You just left university, and
Yeah.
now you're desperately looking for a job, desperately looking for articles with like millions of other students.
Sure.
So it's kind of like, am I gonna make it? Am I, what makes me stand out?
Yes.
So yeah, I tried. I really tried. Like I even went as far as like getting, applying at firms in like Boxburg.
Serious, you were ready to do
like from
anything.
Pretoria, like Boxburg, like around Johannesburg. Like I went Springs, even. Yeah.
Yeah. You were ready to give it your heart,
No,
whatever it took.
Whatever it took.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then how did you feel? Like, guys, quick story time. Melissa took my job. So we interviewed at the same law firm at the same time on the same day. And then we were the best two candidates chosen at that particular time. But she got picked and now I was saved aside. Saved best for last. Something along those lines. So now, did you think that Rams is going to pick you that day? Were you certain you got the job?
No.
How did that interview go?
It was worse than all the other interviews.
Really?
It was the worst. I went back home. I remember I think it was a Friday.
Yeah, it was a Friday.
It was a Friday.
But it was close to Valentine's time.
Yes. And oh no, it was just terrible. Like
Really?
I left, you just have a gut feeling like, okay, this is going to go well. This went bad. And for me, it was like, this went bad. We'll try again next
Let
time.
me go start applying.
Yeah, let me go like back to the drawing board. It felt, it was so hardcore.
Really? Well, for me, because how my interview it wasn't even bad. It was great. Like, I remember even when I stepped out, right? Tandega was like, oh my God, do you know there's people you've been laughing the entire time? Because it was really a fun, easy interview. I actually literally thought I got it in that moment, right? And then I think time passed by. Then I had to call Wandile. And I'm like, hi, Bo, what's going on? Like, I'm waiting for your call. I thought that thing went well.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, we'll call you when we thingy. And I think I was even on my way to interview at UP Law Clinic. And then actually no, he called me. So I was on my way to interview go UP Law Clinic, and then he calls me like, hey, we really liked you. I just wanted to let you know that we're going to call you when we get bigger offices. And I was like, this is a no. You're probably just trying to be nice about it, right?
Yeah.
Went about my business, found other jobs, did work, went to Cape Town, got offers. A year later when I'd forgotten, I'm like, and then now I'm getting a call, hey, so interested, So how was it receiving that call to say, yes, you got it?
It wasn't even a call.
Was it an email? Really?
It was an email and a WhatsApp message from Matotsi, right?
Yes.
So Matotsi, I in the morning, I usual routine on Monday, check emails, any responses from applications, and,
Sure.
Applying again. So I saw that email and it said articles. And I was like,
What's going on? Sure.
but then before that, I saw his WhatsApp. He was like, good morning, Palasa. This is Matotsi Ramashia from Rams Attorneys. You have a mail. And I said, hi, Matotsi. Thanks, I'll have a look. And then when I did, it said articles and said, hi, Palasa. We'd like to offer you articles for, what is it, 2020?
2020, yes, 2020.
I'd like to offer you articles for 2020. Here's your offer letter. and we hope to hear from you. Oh, my heart was like,
I'm sure you
ball
scrubbed.
of happiness. I was screaming the whole morning.
Mm-hmm.
The whole morning. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And then when I opened the offer letter, it said, if you accept this, you start on Wednesday. I was like, I don't even
They
have
like that
time.
quickly.
I was like, I don't even have time to prepare.
Sure.
Yeah, so no, I love that. That was a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Ah.
Okay. A beautiful moment happens. Now you're in articles. Is it everything you anticipated or thought of?
No. No, like varsity can never prepare you for the fullness of articles.
Sure.
It really can't. Like, yes, you might know the theoretical side of it, but when you get into like actual real life cases, this is not a case study that we read in our textbooks.
It's not a hypothesis. Sure.
This is like you all the way from the beginning, like, from client consultations to having to analyze this matter and then starting with the paperwork that they don't really prepare you for.
Sure.
So yeah, it was intense because my articles that we started and then we went into lockdown. So
Yeah.
it was the COVID articles actually. So yeah, it wasn't like the normal way one can actually go through articles. Yeah.
What are 3 highlights of your articles, Jenny? The good, the worst, the bad.
The good is definitely, having a matter concluding and it's successful,
Sure.
in your client's favor.
Yeah.
That is the good part. When you finally see the look and happiness on client's face, like you guys did a good job.
Sure.
The journey might have been a bit difficult, but the end result, for me, that's the good.
Sure.
That remains the good for me. You said the worst and the bad.
Yes.
The worst, it's the behind the scenes having to, your principal having to scroll at you, and you just feel like you don't know anything because constantly it's like you think you know and then you realize no, you don't. You take 10 steps back and you mess up, you make mistakes, and at the end of the day, you're dealing with real life clients and
Sure.
situations, and it's also not forgetting the procedures at court and forgetting to enroll a matter for hearing on the
And
roll,
you have
and
to start from fresh.
and how do you explain that to your principal and you've messed up and the client is expecting, oh, we're proceeding on this date, and you're like, no, my candidate didn't do this. So that's the worst thing that can ever happen. Like, you're just messing up a case, and the disappointment of having to go back and explain that to the client.
I think for me, just before you go into your worst, right? Was that bad or worst?
That could be bad and worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, the worst times is when you miscount the days. Like you out here, like obviously you've gotten a date, and then obviously there's the 5 days to do this, 10 days to do this, and all of that. And you know how hard it is for you to get that date.
Yeah.
And then you decide not to file the final. What is it? The final
Set down, notice of set down.
What's that other one? Is it a notice of set down, and then there's that other one, practice note or something?
Yeah.
It's always the smallest things, and then you forget to file that, and you just think of it. Your date is gone to waste, and now you must go back to your principal and say, "Hey, so I miscounted," and it's like, "What? Your job is on the line, honey." And then also now you have to go back to, sometimes you're not even able to go back to client and say something like that because this is a big client. Now your principal has to go deliver the news, and that makes your principal seem incompetent, that type of stuff. So it makes you feel really bad. And then also I feel like there's times where you just feel like you are small. I don't know if it's just me, but I think something about the legal profession, right? On days where you're failing, it's like you can't accept that it's okay to fail. You just feel like, I shouldn't be failing this. How come so-and-so can do it? How come everybody else is able to endure this? There are those moments. Yeah. Okay, then we can go into the bad.
The worst and the bad are like interchangeably
Yeah.
the same, really. The bad, I would say for me, the bad is the drafting. You know,
Yeah.
we've got templates and precedences, but then each case is different,
Yes.
facts and everything, and then you'd use the previous template for your current matter,
Yeah.
and you forget to take out certain things that are not applicable to the
Yes.
current one, and then you send it to your principal, to settle, and then they just rip it to shreds.
Yes.
Rip it to shreds. And sometimes you're dealing with people's emotions and characters, and
Yes.
they're not kind. Tabang, my boss, he tells it like it is. It's like
Sure.
rotten potato. What have you given me here? It's rotten. Like,
But also what I
Yeah.
really love about his persona as a supervisor. Like he's got I don't want to say harsh style, but his style is very strict, straight to the point, orderly. So it's like, if it's 1+1, can I see where the one is? Can I see where the plus sign is? Can I see where the one is? Can I see where the equals is? Can I see where the 2 is? And there's no way you can expect me to figure it out. If you're making a claim or you are making an allegation, can I see that you read cases? Can I see that you read articles? Can I see that you know what you're talking about? Because I think sometimes it feels like it's too much pressure. But also, I think on his end, it's like protecting the reputation of the company. Because if he still needs to spend another 10 hours redrafting, then it means your job is not necessary. Because why must he still redraft? But yeah, you're right, man. Sometimes it's really hard and harsh. I always say training to be an attorney is like military training. It's like boot camp.
it's
Because
boot camp.
sometimes you do it crying. Sometimes you do it crying, you're hurting, it's a lot is going on, but you have no choice. Sometimes you can't even sit down and cry because there's no time to cry.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
crying, you're missing out on days, drafts are being delayed and
Yeah.
all of that. So it really can be such a tense space, but it does require some sort of grace. You need to give yourself grace. You need to give those that you work with grace, including our principals, because sometimes we tend to paint our principals or our bosses as villains, but we forget that they're also human beings that are in business. They need to protect the reputation and the integrity of the entities that they run. So they need to do that with everything possible. And sometimes it looks like we have to suffer, and obviously you would find that there are people that have really fun leadership styles. I'll make an example. One of the things I was going to ask is like, what are the fun parts? I mean, lawyers know how to have a good time. We'll go for drinks, we'll go for food, we'll have a good time, right? But you have leaders that are able to say, you can upset me in the office. I'll give you like a typical example, like Karabo, right? He's not one to shout at you like, yeah, where's my what? But he's just going to be like, oh, you didn't do it properly. Let me do my thing myself. It's also another way of teaching you to say, if you're not going to do things properly, you're never going to get instruction from me. But it can be hurtful, but also it's a bit polite, Also, then he's still able to say, let's go out and be merry. But with another, they'll be like, these ones, they're not going anywhere. We're not going to buy them any drinks. They don't know what they're doing. They can't even work. You want to knock off early. Why are you knocking off early when you don't know how to do your job? So I think it's just a matter of trying to understand that we're all but human beings. We're all trying to protect whatever we're trying to protect. We are trying to finish articles. They're trying to retain clients and protect the integrity of the business. And you're also trying to become an attorney. So there's a lot. Everybody's trying and everybody's pulling to their own direction. But sometimes you just need to find where we meet. And just, someone will be a sacrificial lamb at some point. Unfortunately, if you're still upcoming and as junior, you suffer the most.
You do.
Yeah. So now, okay. What was the biggest highlight of your articles where you felt like, I'm a lawyer, or where you felt like this is something God possibly called me to
do? Yeah. So I think my biggest highlight, obviously, I did a lot of matters, and I think for me it was a divorce matter. Quite simple. For me, it was just, yay, she got a divorce.
Yes.
But it was how, the client was finally relieved. And
Sure.
it was one of those divorces that had dragged on
Yes,
since
for
the
a long
beginning of my
time.
articles to the end. And, finally, when you feel like, okay, justice has prevailed, we've made it out,
Sure.
I've helped another person, I've helped another human being. Like, that is the biggest highlight for me. That was, yeah, I'd have to say, like, just, having someone get divorced. It's not a good thing, but if at the end of the day, that's what they wanted. That was like a highlight, yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically how you make clients feel when
yeah.
justice is actually
When
served. Because it's
justice is
one
served,
thing when
yes.
you handle a matter and you get the desired outcome, but is it rightful justice?
Yeah.
So I really love that. And then now you're done with your articles. You become an associate. Okay, yeah, now you're done with articles and then you become an associate, right? Okay, by the way, guys, Pelissa trained me. She told me a lot of things, a lot of things. Like, she was my magnifying glass. Like, I've done this, please check it out. I've done this, please check it out, right? So when you started your articles, you were literally the only girl.
Yes.
And it was just the two of you who were doing articles and you're the only person in litigation. Then I come in. How did that transition make you feel that now there's another candidate?
It was a weight lifted off my shoulders. Like,
Wow.
because you're carrying a lot. You're doing everything for everyone, and you're only candidate attorney. You don't have, it's just you and your director. You don't have a middle person who's kind of like, you can go and ask for guidance, because
Sure.
then if you go to your boss, you don't want to feel like you're stupid, you don't know what you're doing, and he's explained this over to you 100 million times. So you just sit there in a corner. But then, yeah, so gradually, you get the hang of things. And then when you came on board, it was like, whew,
Yeah.
now I have someone who I can split the work with,
Okay.
someone who can understand my pain at the same time.
Okay.
And so yeah, no, it was definitely a relief, but I also understood that I needed to at least help and guide you,
Sure.
so that you have a better experience than I did.
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
Paving the way.
Paving the way.
Okay, so now then I'm done with my articles. Then there's like how many CAs you guys have? Four,
The
five?
farm is really grown.
Yeah, so-
so we've got. Sorry, I have to count. We've got like three candidate attorneys. Then it's myself and two senior associates.
Yeah. So now how have you been handling that transition? Because I can imagine, in as much as now maybe the work is like split accordingly and stuff, but you moved from working with just this one individual, you have an understanding, you've even become friends and all of that. Now you have to familiarize yourself with 6 other new people that you need to connect with. Some you need to instruct, some you need to teach, some you need to take instruction from. How has that transition been?
It's more responsibility that's expected of you, because now the director gives you work and you have to, it falls on you to delegate to
Sure.
to ensure that the candidate doesn't mess up. So yeah, it's that transition now. It just, you kind of just went with it. Yeah, I just kind of just go with it.
You rolled with
I
it.
rolled with it, and I think my biggest thing is that I didn't have that associate or senior associate to kind of help me. So I keep reminding myself that I have to be that associate for these candidates.
Okay.
So that they don't get the back end of the stick, even though they still do.
Yeah, I feel like there's no cheat code.
There's no cheat
there's no cheat
code.
code.
No.
There's a day where you will catch the smoke.
Yeah.
One way or another, no matter how great your environment is or how great your principals are, there is a day where there's always, your day comes.
Yeah, everybody gets their day.
Yes, everybody gets their day. It's either it's the courts, it's at work, or it's a colleague, or it's client, or it's something. But there is something that happens that throws you off. But I think it is really great when you have a great support structure, even at work, at home, or whatever the case may be. Okay, love that. I mean, I guess also you've unlocked the character quality of becoming adaptable.
Yes.
Adaptability, being able to move with the times and being able to navigate the environments changing. Because I can imagine for me, I think I would have had a complete meltdown if I had to go through the transition of having, okay, let's train one person, but this person I have an understanding with them, but now I have to train 3 other people. I never used to report to anyone. Now I have to report to my principal. Besides my principal, I need to report to 2 other seniors. It can be something else, but I guess also it's just as a person that's growing in their career, you need to learn how to be adaptable. You need to be fluid. Yes, be fluid, flow.
Flow, definitely.
Yeah, flow. Because if you don't flow, you will suffer. Because sometimes things don't change for us. We sometimes need to navigate. We need to just understand that there'll be nuances in between. There'll be things that happen in between, but they don't change like our capabilities. They don't change that we qualify to be in a position that we're in. Okay. So, what are some of the things that you learned? Okay, would you say there's any difference between being a candidate and being an associate?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Huge difference. And it's that now they expect you to know
Sure.
and to kind of do things a little bit more swiftly. You can
Okay.
take on, you have to take on a bigger role. Like the pool is now wider, in terms of clients.
Sure.
They can leave you with a client all by yourself now. As a candidate, the director would be there guiding you. Now you have consultations on your own. You have to advise the client, okay, this is the route we're going to take. This is what we need to do. You're on your own. You don't have anybody holding your hand.
Sure.
And then you have candidates looking up to you and they want guidance from you. And at the same time, you're still learning yourself.
Sure.
You don't have all the answers to everything, And so that's the biggest challenge and responsibilities, but you adjust, like you said, adaptability. Whereas with the candidate, you're allowed to make many mistakes.
Yeah, you can use people to dodge.
You can dodge. You can dodge all these bullets, and you can say, "No, I'm still learning. I didn't know the practice directive said this," and "Oh no, I didn't know we're supposed to do that." So, but as an associate, there's no, "I didn't know we're supposed to." It's like, no, you had that opportunity to go through all of that. Now you need to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, 2 things. So let's build a toolbox for a candidate attorney or corporate girlies.
Okay.
What are 5 things that you think they should know before they go into corporate?
They should know.
Yes.
Oh my word.
Whether it's a character that you should have,
Yes.
whether it's something that you really need to know. Yeah, but just 5 things that are non-negotiable that will help you navigate being in corporate or being an associate better.
Okay. In the legal fraternity, yes.
Yeah.
Well, for me, definitely, coming into this as a candidate attorney, I would say, continue like doing your research. Because you do a lot of opinions, you have to navigate that. So yeah, be abreast with researching and enjoy researching.
Sure.
I don't.
Nobody enjoys researching.
Yeah,
it's tough,
nobody
but you have
enjoys
to
it.
do it.
But so that's the one thing. I'd always say like notebook and diary.
Okay.
These are the things that's gonna help you get by with your to-do, daily exercises, daily, tick off, I've
Sure.
done this. Thirdly, I'd say build a very, be open to criticism.
Sure.
So don't think everybody's out to get you
Sure.
or, and be open to failure.
Sure.
Yes. Even though they say like failing is not
An option.
it's not an option to fail.
Yeah.
Tabang really says that a lot, but be open to failure, like be open to, because failing from there, you grow.
Sure.
Yeah. What's the last thing every girly must have? I'd definitely say have like a good support structure.
Sure.
Have your friends that you can go back to and talk about your cases to, and maybe like have a person who's giving you a little bit of an objective, neutral version of what's going on.
Okay.
Have someone you can constantly, or someone or people that you can go back to and, talk to about your day after a long day. If that means that's a therapist or friends, I would say protect your mental health.
Okay.
Have a support structure for your mental health.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. And then 3 items you should have in your wardrobe.
Wardrobe.
Yeah.
Heels.
Okay. Okay.
And definitely like a suit, have that one suit you're going to use to either go to court or go to a big meeting.
Sure.
Yeah. And a wardrobe. My word.
But you items that you wear, though, I guess they stay in your wardrobe. Heels and a suit.
Heels and a suit.
But Lisa, you have to say Crocs because you lived your whole life.
I was about to say pumps, flats, or Crocs. Crocs. Because after a long day of wearing those heels, you definitely need like a nice, comfy, flat shoe.
Yes, have comfortable shoes. Yeah. Okay, this was great. We've come to the end. In closing, what is this season of your life?
The season of my life right now, it's growing.
Growing.
I'm just at a point where, just trying to figure out where I'm coming from, where I desire to be. And just taking each day as it comes. But it's definitely growth. Looking forward to more challenges, how we can overcome those challenges, and becoming the best version of myself.
Okay, love that. And what are you reading?
Currently?
Sure.
You're gonna kill me for this. I'm reading Bamboozled by Jesus.
You're still not done?
Yes.
Wow, but listen, you know what? We have to close this episode because I need to handle this off camera because why are you not done? 6 months, 1 book. Over a year. No ways, guys. Anyway, thank you so much for honoring this invite. Truly appreciate it. I hope somebody learned something from home. One of my biggest takeouts is a bumpy start doesn't always mean that it's going to be a bumpy end or it's going to be a terrible end. If you told me that you actually fought to get into law school, I wouldn't have believed you. You fought through board exams. You did so well in your board exams. You got admitted as an attorney. You're still doing well right now. And this tells you that your failures, just because you couldn't do something in high school or just because your high school grades are very low or whatever the case, maybe you don't qualify for university, it doesn't mean you are not going to be something in life. Don't cap yourself to qualifying into college, qualifying into university, or qualifying into a certain course. Because if you are meant to do that course, one way or another, you will find your way back to it. But in that moment when you can't qualify, always accept and be fluid enough to take an alternative that will almost lead you to where you're supposed to be, because things do turn out well. I mean, things turned out well. I didn't even know that you did international relations. So I feel like give yourself a chance, allow yourself to make mistakes. And I really hope that you enjoyed this episode, and do not forget to be love and light. Happy Employment Wednesdays. And remember, you are never alone. You are always gracefully anchored. Thank you.